do it, but I can't.
Okay, so this is a little unusual. I'm not used to YouTube at all. So I did a couple of videos and yeah, but I've been doing a lot of videos on being an adult survivor, the trauma, and how I'm working to heal from the trauma. And so it's kind of like a bad reality show. You, you know, hear what's going on, what happens and stuff in my life. And you probably don't want to know, but I'm going to tell you anyways. All right. So what happened to me on Sunday is what I want to share with you because it was an unusual time. So I had I was triggered by one thing which triggered something else, and then the darkness, that depression, that pain, that what's the word I'm looking for? Grief and just being worthless, those feelings. They just hit, and I had nobody to talk to or to help. And my mom was in Green Bay. And so, I had called and I had said, oh, can I just stop by, and get a hug or whatever, And she was like, well, we're coming home tomorrow. So, and it's a long drive and whatever. So basically it's a rejection type thing. Okay. And I felt alone in the world. I felt like nobody gave a shit about me and that I was worthless. The world would be better off without me. Now, I'm usually not that low, but it does happen. The healing process, as I said in past videos on Facebook, it's you have that starting point, and then as you take the medication, slowly it goes up a little bit, but then it goes down again. When it does that, it'll go up a little bit and then it'll go down a little bit. And what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to get up to a normal level. And because of the trauma that I had and, who I am, unfortunately, it's not working that way. What happens is I get to this level where I can talk, I can communicate, I can think, I have ideas. I feel like, I'm an artist. I feel okay, but then there are the times when it's so dark that, I almost feel like I can't take that pain. And sometimes it just gets really bad. And so on this day, it got really bad. And I started researching ways to take my life. And so that was sort of a warning sign for me because I don't want to die. I just want the pain to stop. And so what happened was, and this is like the last time I'm telling the story because I am so tired of telling it. But what happened was this. I had I was in the car in the garage and I was thinking, I was sitting there researching on my phone ways to kill yourself that would be mostly painless, right? So I found one and I thought about it and I was picturing it and I scared myself because I had never quite been that way before. And the Xanax didn't help at all because, I'm addicted to it and I take 6 milligrams a day. So if I, want it to help, I have to take more than 6 milligrams at a time, in order for it to help. It's a mess, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. The downs are the killer. The downs are when I can't get out of bed, when I struggle, and actually researching ways to kill myself and then seeing a way to kill myself, having this way out. It was kind of comforting. But then I started to think about, my cats and my mom and my aunt. And, I just, I thought about how traumatizing it would be for them. And, but the feeling didn't go away, the thoughts didn't go away. And I called the suicide hotline. Didn't really help much. I mean, I was trying to, I don't know, get some information or whatever. And apparently they call the police, because they're asshats. And they, if you even mention, see, okay, here's the deal. Why is it so hard for people to deal with us talking about suicide? Okay. I'm going to start writing my suicidal thoughts out, get them out that way. But what I don't understand is why people cannot let you talk about it without suddenly looking at you as though you are, a freak or you're nothing. And that's how they treated me in the hospital that I was forced to go to when I went to okay, I drove up to a place called Devil's Lake, and I was going to go swimming. I was going to swim across the lake and back. And then I was going to call the UW emergency room for, psychological stuff so I could hopefully get some help since I was alone. But first I wanted to do the swim. So I needed to get the number, and my phone did not have service because, I'm in the middle of nowhere. And I I went to the service. What is it? It's like, I don't know. It's a service area for people, for guests, I guess, who go to the lake and stuff. And I was just asking if they could, get those numbers for me. That's all. I just wanted them to get the number so that I could call it when I was ready and, deal with it. Right. So, at this point, I'm exhausted. I hadn't eaten at all during the day, and I was also dehydrated, so I was very weak. And so I'm at my car, looking at the numbers and trying to get my phone to work. And a warden, a woman. She's a nice woman. She meant well. She comes up and, we talk. We had talked before. And so I went swimming, and, I didn't swim across the lake because they, the second that there's something wrong, right? If you're upset, then, nobody trusts you anymore, especially if you have mental illness or mental disorders, right? You can't get angry. You're not allowed to be angry. You're supposed to be angry. You are a survivor, and there is nothing wrong with anger. What happened to you should not have happened, and you should be treated with respect, just like everybody else. And if you're not, you need to be your advocate. You need to ask for an advocate, and you need to fight. And it sucks. And I was lucky because my mom and my aunt came, and my mom is a bulldozer. So anyways, after I went swimming, like they didn't I actually didn't want to drive because I was so exhausted, and I didn't remember that I hadn't eaten. And I was also, like I said, I was dehydrated. And so I'm like, whatever, I rode with her, and like another one took my car, and they took me to this hospital in Baraboo, the ER in Baraboo. And it was the worst experience. It was the worst experience. It's actually really interesting because, you know, I've heard stories, and when I was a kid, I visited my mom in the MHU, the mental health unit, and I never wanted to end up there, never, right? And so when I sought help, I asked them if the only reason I'm doing this is if, I can leave when I want to leave. You have, you're not keeping me. You don't have a right to keep me. And every person I spoke to said that I would be able to leave if I wanted to leave. Okay. So I'm there for several hours. My mom is outside for several hours waiting because they would not let her come in. Um, it got to the point, I mean, they didn't even do anything to help me. They did like a physical thing and took some blood, but they didn't do anything else. And so, I'm just sitting there, and I couldn't go to the bathroom to give them a pee sample because I was dehydrated. So finally, when the nurses, goes out, and she's talking to, I guess, a head nurse or some other, I don't know who the bitch was, but um, I was having a panic attack, and I couldn't go to the bathroom. And so this woman says no to giving me anything to help calm me down. Okay. I have a prescription for Xanax, and it's just absolutely ridiculous that they were not helping me. I was in a fucking hospital. I was looking for help. That's it. And what I got was treated like a fucking sideshow freak. As soon as we walked into the area, when I first got there, all of the people behind the desk were looking at me like I was a fucking freak. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't care what other people think about me, but what the fuck? You should have more common sense if you're working in a hospital, right? So that was my introduction to these people. Um, so it got to the point where finally my mom was pissed off, and she forced her way back to me. Somehow the police get involved in this. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And the nurse had talked to this other woman, and she's talking about putting a fucking catheter in me. They didn't even check to see if I was dehydrated or what else was going on. And I said, you're not putting a fucking catheter in me. And she said, of course, that I couldn't have my medicine. So I was having a panic attack and trying to be calm. And somehow they called the police. I don't know how. These people were keeping me against my will. I asked several times for an advocate, and I did not get one. And then, every single person said that I could leave when I wanted to leave. They took away everything. They took away my voice. They took away my humanity. They looked at me as an object, wanting me to comply. The fuck? That's how you treat somebody who comes in for help? They fucked with the wrong people. They really did, because this isn't over. But anyway, so it was just a clusterfuck. A couple of the police sort of surrounded me, and I'm having a panic attack, and I was like, get the fuck away from me. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I'm asking them, I'm like, why am I not allowed to be angry when everybody here lied to me? And so I'm having this horrible experience. And, my mom pushes her way in, and so I let her talk. And one of the warden, the woman warden, said something, I can't remember what it was, but she talked to my mother harshly, and I said, don't you ever fucking talk to my mom like that again. And she goes like this, because I was looking her in the eye, and when I said it, and I was ready to, I would have ended up in jail probably if it wasn't for my mom. The rage inside of me was coming out because they took away my humanity. They took away my identity, and they took away my voice. I'm allowed to be upset. I was reacting like a normal human being. My fucking psychiatrist told me so. This is not what you do. And he said that this happens a lot, that the hospitals do not treat people with mental illness or mental disorders with respect, or, with the methodology that you can use to work and help somebody like me, like you, like other people. I don't know. But I was thinking, what if that had happened to someone who was worse than I was, like worse off than I was? They would have not been able to get out of there. And that's not right. No hospital, nobody should treat someone differently simply because they are different. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with mental illness. There's nothing wrong with these disorders. We are not the ones who gave it to ourselves. It happened for a reason, right? Something caused the disorder. Something caused the pain. Something caused the panic. Triggers are everywhere. And the loneliness is one of the most powerful, horrible experiences. I can only describe it as the blackest black, and it's as if I'm folding into myself when it happens. It's horrifying. And there's nothing that can help. I have to just get through it. And the reason I went to the hospital was because I was scared, because I was actively thinking about suicide, and I don't want to die. But the pain was so bad, and I thought maybe they could help. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. But, so after a bunch of hours, finally we got the fuck out of there, and I told them what I thought of them and what they did wrong, and that, they would be hearing from me again, because this is unacceptable. You do not treat people like this. There needs to be training. And so in a way, I'm glad that it all happened, because I could have chosen the rage. I could have gone after them, tried suing them. I mean, I wouldn't have succeeded, but I could have tried. I could have done so many things with that rage. But instead, what I realized was, it's not cruelty intent. It's more ignorance and fear. And that's in a hospital where they're supposed to help us. So I know now what it feels like to be in that situation. That has been my biggest fear my entire life, because of my bio mom. And I survived it. It was the first part of it. Luckily, I wasn't committed or something like that, just because I was angry. But it's insane. But they also didn't do a fucking thing to help. And I don't know. I realized that it wasn't actually a bad thing that happened, because now I saw this from the perspective of other people who have gone through this, of my bio mom, of people that are a part of the Facebook page, and hopefully we'll get people a part of this. Um, it makes me want to protect people from ever having that experience. And the only way to do that is to educate, not rage, educate. These people, I don't know why they acted the way they did. I don't know why they did what they did. You know, I really don't. The only time I got angry was when they said I couldn't leave. And that was a problem because they fucking lied to me. Every single person I talked to, I had to ask that question because I was terrified. So uh, it was exhausting, but it also helped because now I know what that feels like and I can relate when people talk about that. I can understand something of it. And it also made me angry enough to want to fight to help educate police, hospitals, schools. I don't care. You know, I want to be an advocate for people with mental illness, mental disorders. That's my worth now because no one should be treated the way I was treated. And that was probably small compared to what a lot of people have gone through. But I had a choice and I made the right one. So I'm going to volunteer at a place here that helps people with mental illness. And I'm also going to start doing meetup groups so that I can meet more people and hopefully make friends because I don't have any. I'm starting anew. My name is Phoenix Heavenly Page, and I am a new person and I am constantly evolving, and I will always rise from the embers, from the fire, from the fucking ashes. I've had to do it my entire life. And I'm going to keep doing it. But I can tell you this, I will never, ever seek help from a hospital again when it has something to do with psychological issues. I'm glad that I was able to talk to my psychiatrist because he validated me and validated my mom and validated everything and said, no, you never should have been treated like that, that it's trauma and it's a problem. And we need to get this out there. We need people to understand that they don't have to be afraid and that it's okay for people to display emotion. Just because you're a doctor or a nurse doesn't mean you're better than us. I've had to deal with that my whole life. Everybody better than me. I love who I'm turning into. And I hope that I can find some friends eventually that will be able to love me as well. And I can love them. And, you know, maybe I'll end up completely alone. Who knows? But you'll find out if you watch because this is kind of the this is the way I do the videos. It's nothing exciting. I'm just talking about my journey and sometimes educating on disorders and talking about disorders. So if you watch, thank you for watching, and I will be back.